One of the issues that's come to the fore is that of aid disbursements to Africa. Africa has no less than 13 highly indebted poor countries, many of whom have had their debt redrafted or written off by virtue of the Gleneagles Summit held in 2005. But the issue is that Western countries, being cash-strapped, are not in a position to support development programs in Africa. And then the question is, what are African states, especially the poorer ones, to do? Well, to answer this and many more questions, we're now joined by Ulla Toernaes, who is the Minister for International Development Cooperation for Denmark. And I thank you very much for coming through. The estimates are that overseas development assistance to Africa will fall by 1/5, and that's a 1/5 drop for a continent that wasn't even prioritized in terms of international development assistance in the first place. So what are the prospects for Africa in terms of attracting aid at a time of recession?
Of course, I mean, with the global crisis, it can be difficult for some countries to meet the targets that they have set themselves. But I believe that it's more important now than ever that the developed world is fulfilling the old promises and are reaching the old UN target of delivering 0.7 of their GDP in official development assistance. And I can assure you that my country, Denmark, who is already and has been for many years living up to the old UN target of 0.7, we are actually dispersing 0.82% of our gross national product, that we will continue to do that.
Well, Denmark may be meeting the targets set by the United Nations, but the three major economies in the world are now in recession: Japan, Germany, the United States. They were the largest donors to Africa alongside France, and unfortunately they will not be able to meet those targets because within their own countries they're struggling just to meet zero growth. So that becomes a real question as to what are the prospects, especially for the aid-dependent African countries.
But I personally believe that it's now we need solidarity, we need global solidarity, and we need global solidarity to turn this crisis into opportunities. And I really believe that we can turn this into opportunities for Africa, but we cannot do this if the countries are not living up to their old promises. So I will do what I can, representing a country who are fulfilling the old targets. I will do what I can in different political forums to put pressure on the countries not delivering, because I really think it's a question of credibility of the rich part of the world. We cannot let the poor people down at this moment. And if we look into the amount of the different stimulus packages that has been passed in the rich part of the world, what we are actually offering in official development aid is, I mean, this is nothing compared to the different stimulus packages. So it's a question of political will.
Those who look at the glass as half full will say, actually, this is an opportunity for Africa. If aid flows are not forthcoming, it's great. It's a time to really nurture organic growth of private enterprise in Africa, and we should start negotiating for trade as opposed to aid. Now, that's philosophically speaking. The reality is that we can barely get past the Doha round of free trade negotiations because the Western economies are increasingly becoming more protective of key industries within their local economies. So when we start moving away from aid to trade, what should the trade-offs be?
But of course, development assistance is just one tool when it comes to poverty reduction. I personally believe that trade is even more important. Private sector-led growth in the African countries is absolutely key when it comes to poverty reduction. So we have to have a stronger focus on the African countries' competitiveness, and this is also what I've participated in different discussions during the World Economic Forum. And it's about political reforms in the African countries to make sure that the African product, the African businesses are becoming more competitive, so that the African countries can benefit from globalization.